Let's get into our first discussion now. 47 days on, the 6 boys abducted from the Lagos State Model College are yet to regain freedom. When
will they be reunited with their parents? Well, joining us to discuss this is a social commentator, Daniel Akinlami. Thank you for your time with us on the show.
Thank you.
We are still counting, yet the boys are not back. The parents are somehow in the dark, but thankfully at least we heard kidnappers reached out to them and promised to release the 6 boys, but until now, it's still total silence.
Well, I think it's still a very sad situation as far as these school kids are concerned. I think at some point the kidnappers were insisting that they want to negotiate with the state government. Even when the parents were trying to reach out to them to see what they could do to get the kids returned. But where we are, with all respect to the security aspect of this, we also know that the state government must be doing some things behind the scene to get those kids released. So, but I think where the issue is now is the welfare of these kids, how they're faring, their health. So that's the big concern in this. So whatever government is doing, perhaps they have to speed up the approach or the strategy they are deploying to get these children rescued. But beyond that, this is to show to us that we are still majorly confronted with these kidnapping challenges. A number of people are still being kidnapped, even despite the arrest of the kingpin, Evans. People are still being kidnapped. So federal government and the police need to look into a better way to prevent. Because once the incident happens, it's always difficult to say this is the way it will go. And oftentimes when those victims are released, the parents involved and families, they cover out a lot of money. So, and I think at this point, people just still have to keep putting pressure on government, especially the parents, for them to do something. Government can only be praised when there's results.
All right, this is not the first time the kidnapping is taking place in that school. Remember in October 2016, the vice principal, a head teacher and students were kidnapped, but in 6 days they were released. So if we have to make comparison, what's the difference between the kidnap that time and the one now?
Well, if we look at it critically, especially from the revelations coming from Evans, these are a group of people that have developed enough capacity to do things like this. Like Evans had facility where it could keep people as much as even 1 year. They were feeding them until the victims' families are ready to pay the particular ransom they were asking for. So we cannot rule out that in this case too. Perhaps that can give hope that the kids are being well catered for wherever they are kept. Pending the time the negotiation can be concluded. It's taking so long now.
Yeah, but when the word well catered for, certainly a lot of people are going to dispute that as far as the standard of how they lived in their homes and where they are is concerned.
The psychological trauma alone.
The psychological trauma and all the other challenges attached to being isolated. But the truth of the matter is that these people are able to do this with conspiracy of people in the community. They even have most too in the police force. They
could, but
yes, they could.
Yes.
You know,
we've
had the case of Evans. The alleged people that conspired to set him free when he was first arrested about 2 or 3 years ago. So I think they have a very big network that enabled them to do this and keep at it for months.
All right. Let me put you on hold and then we come back for this.
Welcome back. We still have Daniel Akilami, a social commentator, talking to us about the plight of the 6 kidnapped students from Lagos Model College, Igbonle, and how soon the need for them to be back pretty soon safely, of course, to their various parents. Now, Lagos State now has a law in place, anti-kidnapping law, that is has been described as very stiff, because kidnappers could face a death sentence if their victims die while in their custody, and could face life imprisonment if otherwise. So now, so far, we doubt if the law has prosecuted any kidnapped suspects, and somehow many people are saying that that is not serving as a deterrence to kidnappers, because since nobody has taken a fall for that, being seen to be punished, they think they could just do as they want, like every day is Christmas.
Well, yes, it looks like it doesn't serve as a deterrent, but I believe that law will take its full course with time. So if we have thorough prosecution and conviction of some of these kidnappers, people will begin to feel the heat. Perhaps the police need to speed up the process for prosecuting these arrested kidnappers. As much as you holding on to some of them to get more information and to uncover the ring and to break into them, you need to also speed up. That's also called for the role of the judiciary as well. So if we have instances where those who have been arrested in the past few years have been speedily prosecuted and they are sent to jail, and in states, not only Lagos has the death sentence for kidnapping, I think they do, and one other or 2 other states have adopted the same law. So if we have seen about 35, 10 kidnappers taken to firing squad, it sends a very strong message.
Okay, when it comes to that law, so many states are adopting that law, and more states are getting on board.
How far with implementation?
Yeah, that's another thing altogether. We have been looking at the kidnap of 6 boys from Igbonle College in Ekpe in Lagos. Now, you talked about the arrest of Evans earlier on. All the revelations he brought on board that you made reference to, how would all of those help in getting, because Evans has not really come out to say there's a link between him and those who perpetrated this particular, or those who carried out this particular kidnap. But how would that help in getting to these boys who are holding these children?
I believe the Evans arrest is a landmark one. Expectedly, not every information at the disposal of the police they will put out in the public. So for the few informations that are out there in the media, you can see that they've got a very big fish. So, but how much they can take advantage of this breakthrough to reinforce the fight against kidnapping is another thing. Also, don't forget that the IG's intelligence response team has been the one going to various states, cracking most of these incidents. So, but so to say, I think the police need to step up, perhaps localize this intelligence response team, that they can prevent some of these incidents from happening. Maybe at the level of the intelligence gathering, there should be more sensitization now within the community. The community leadership should also get involved, that people can begin to show interest in what people are doing in their neighborhood. Show interest in what your neighbor is doing. Show interest in what property owners are doing. Even there should be a pressure on property owners too, to pay more attention to who they are giving property to. Look at the property they were using at Badagry or wherever, where they were keeping the victim. So if the owner of such property have taken extra step to really get to know what the occupants are doing, the people they are giving the property to, what they do. So I think at that level, the police need to increase the awareness, especially the community watchword.
carry the community along.
Need to be involved so that we can begin to nip this thing. We can begin to see the traces of those people who are doing it, and they can be arresting them before they
let's look at the Nigeria Police now. You made reference to the fact that it's the Inspector General of Police's crack team that usually goes to, to arrest the big fish kidnappers like this. And it begs the question, really, is it that, or in any way, could we make a conjecture that there could be suspicion within the police force? Remember the revelation of one of Evans's victims who said while he was in the kidnapper's den, that he heard police sirens many times. That he thought he was going to be rescued, and then eventually the vehicle would leave, calling for investigation, as it were. So could it be that somehow there could be suspicion? And you said so at the beginning of your interview that some police officers or security agents could be, complicit.
Well, I think that work is for the leadership of the police to look into. People have pointed fingers in the past in their direction too for complicity. So, and we may not rule it out as well, especially from some of the revelations coming out from this Evans case when he was first arrested and he got released. So, and people are asking questions. Yes, so people were asking questions about how come it was released and the officers involved in that case then. So, but I think beyond that, I think police, they need to know what the public have as perception. Beyond the issue of kidnapping, the trust level is very low. It's very low. But I think with some of the recent development and performances they've been bringing on, people are beginning to hope more for police to be involved in their incidents and cases. So the police leadership need to take it up, especially from the recent breakthroughs. They need to take advantage of those arrests they made recently and step up this fight against kidnapping. And I said earlier that they should localize this intelligence group. What I mean is that they should have presence in states. Not for them to be in Abuja and be moving when the incident happens from one place to another. They should have presence in the state.
It could even help in preventing.
So I think we should have a task force operation that will be solely for intelligence to prevent a kind of raid. Go after their network, the cell, pick them up before they even carry out operation. It will go a long way to stop the rising case of the kidnapping.
But it seems the kidnappers of these students have somehow outsmarted the police so far.
I'm not sure this is still a peculiar case. Some of the things going on behind the scene may not be known to the public. This same school, Abba Kyari was involved in the previous
last year.
Yes, incident. So, and I think perhaps they will see the signature of the people that must have been involved. Their footprints, and perhaps they are close to getting a breakthrough on it. So we cannot really go deeper in that direction. And I think another thing that is very instructive here is the fact that most of the school owners, the proprietors, they need to also step up the security for these schools, especially most of the schools at the outskirts, remote locations. Like this particular school, after a year or two, it's still the same situation. The security has not been built.
And we hear a letter has been written. There's a notification to the issue of kidnap to another college, a model college in Badagry.
So Lagos Model College.
Exactly, Lagos Model College in Kankon. Okay, fine, Kankon. I like the sound of it. But the point is, because this is a very serious issue, indeed, do you think there's anything that has to be done about the location of schools?
Well, I don't think the location of the schools are the problem per se. There was a time that was the best location for some of these colleges. Serene environment, quiet place for study. And they were working well. But times and seasons are changing.
Exactly, because that's what I'm asking now.
They have to now readjust. Yes, they have to readjust to the time. This is the security challenges we're facing now. They have to readjust. So if you're going to run a school at the outskirts or in a remote location, security should be a priority now. Security, thorough security, not megad. You need to put in adequate security that can ward off any invasion.
But then how many Nigerian police officers does Nigeria even have in its force? And that is always the question. And then the need, as of course, many have postulated the need for state policing, because how many police officers will be assigned to a school? And you know that there are hundreds of public schools in Lagos alone. Now imagine the number of schools in the country. If you station all police officers to all schools in the country, would there be police officers to man the streets and do other stuff?
Well, in the practical sense of it, these schools cannot relocate from where they are right now. So it's easier for them to work with the police, no matter how bad it is, that the presence of the police should be felt in their community and even where the schools are situated. So if it's going to be a patrol team or a full attachment with the school, the police can work things out. It's for the safety of the community and even the school and the children. So I think we've got to that point now where that is necessary.
All right, we look forward to not counting days again, so the boys can be back to their parents and back to school. Daniel Akinlami, thank you for coming on the program this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.